Hello again and welcome to GPA Distance Learning. In this video, we are going to learn to tell time to the nearest minute. Before we are going to start, we will play a game. This is called Match Me. What will I do? You are going to follow. Are you ready? Now let's start. Match me. Match me. That's great. Now let's move. In this topic, we are going to answer one big question. How do we tell the time to the nearest minute? Now let's move. We are going to discuss the two kinds of clock, the analog clock and the digital clock. Now what is analog clock? Analog clock has a short hand that shows the hour and a long hand that shows the minutes. How about the digital clock? A clock or watch that shows the time using numbers, not hands. Can you see the difference now? Now let's move to the parts of an analog clock. If you notice, this is the short hand or the hour hand. This is the long hand or the minute hand. Now I have here a clock. It shows the hour. The hour is 5. If you notice, the hour hand has passed the 5, but it has not reached the 6. So still, the time is 5. Now let's move to the minute hand or the longer hand. How are we going to read the minute hand? So all you have to do is to count by 5. I have here the clock. Now, we are going to count by 5 from 1. Now let's start. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. If you notice, we stop in 45. But the longer hand is pointing here. So we are going to count by 1. From 45, we will move to 46 and 47. So the minutes now is 47. Now let's move. Get your analog clock and let's keep count by 5. Do you have the analog clock now? Now let's start counting. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then let's go back to 0. Now let's move here. I have a clock. It shows the time 3. But here's the question. Can you tell the time after 3 hours? If you notice the word after, it means you are going to add or you are going to count forward. Since it is after 3 hours, you're going to add 3 hours. Then we are going to count forward. From 3, we are going to count 1, 2, 3. So it stops in 6. So the time is 6. It means 3 hours after 3. The answer is 6. Now let's move to another example. The example here is 10, 10. If you notice, the short hand is pointing to 10. And the minute hand is pointing to 10. Now, the question is, can you tell the time after 4 hours? Again, the word is after. So you are going to add. Now, you are going to add 4 since it is after 4 hours. Now, let's going to add. From 10, we're going to add 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the time is 2:10. Now, let's have a practice. I will give you 10 seconds to answer this question. The time shows 7. The question is, can you tell the time after 2 hours? Remember the word after. Now let's start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Timer's up. So what is your answer? Since the word here is after, we are going to add 2 hours because it is after 2 hours. Now the time is 9 because from 7, we are going to count or we are going to add 2, 7, 8, and 9. So the time is 9. Now let's move to another example. Again, I will give you 10 seconds to answer. The time is 7. The question is, can you tell the time after 2 hours and 15 minutes? The timer starts now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now let's move. What is your answer? Remember, the word is after, so you're going to add. You're going to add 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, what is your answer? So, 7 plus 2 hours, the answer is 9. How about the minutes? The minutes is here. So, you are going to add 0 and 15. So, the answer is 15. So, the time now is 9:15. So, 2 hours and 15 minutes after 7, the answer is 9:15. Now, that's great. Now, let's move to the next example. The time here is 3. The question is, can you tell the time before 3 hours? The word is before. So what are we going to do? So if you can see the word before, you are going to minus or you are going to count back. So since it is before 3 hours, you are going to minus 3. So from 3, you're going to minus 3. Now let's start counting back. 3, 2, 1, and 12. So the time is 12. So 3 hours before 3, the answer is 12. Now let's move again to another example. The time is 10:10. The question is, can you tell the time before 5 hours? Now remember the word before. So it means we are going to minus or count back. So since it is 5 hours, we are going to minus 5. Now let's try. 1, we are going to count back. 2, 3, 4, 5. So the time is 5:10. Remember, 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. Don't forget, 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. Now let's move to the digital clock. Now, the 12 here is the hour and the 15 here is the minutes. If you notice, there are 2 dots here. It is called the colon. So the digital clock is consists of hour, colon, and minutes. Now let's try to answer this question. Can you tell the time after 1 hour? If the time is 12:15. So don't forget the word after. So you are going to add or you are going to count forward. So 12 plus 1 hour is equal to 1:15. Know why? Because since the clock is until only 12, so you have to start counting by 1. So 1 hour after 12:15, the answer is 1:15. Now let's move again to another question. Can you tell the time before 2 hours if the time is 12:15? Now, don't forget the word before. It means you are going to count back or you are going to minus. So this is before 2 hours, so you are going to minus 2 hours. Now 12:15 minus 2 hours, the answer is 10:15. Now let's move to the activity. I am going to post here the time, for example 9:50. You are going to model or where does the shorthand or the longhand does pointing. Now let's start. I'm going to count 5 seconds for you to answer. Now timer starts now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Timer's up. Now let's try to answer. 9:50. Where does the shorthand pointing? So it points in 9 and while the minute hand is pointing to 10. Now let's move to the next one. The time is 10. Where does the shorthand and the longhand pointing? Now I'll give you again 5 seconds to answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now let's check your answer. The time is 10. Where does shorthand and the minute hand pointing? The shorthand is pointing to 10 and the longer hand is pointing to 12. Remember, once you are now in 12, in the minute hand, this is 0, 0. So the time is 10. Let's move to another question. 1 hour after 10. I will give you again another 5 seconds to answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Timer's up. What is your answer? The answer is, the short hand is pointing to 11 and the longer hand is pointing to 12. Why? Since the word here is after, you are going to add. So you are going to add 1 hour to 10. So the answer is 11. Now let's move to the quick review. Hamdan started reading at 6. He reads for 1 hour and 50 minutes. What time did he finish? What do you think is the answer? The answer is 7:50. Why? Because Hamdan started reading at 6, so you are going to add 1 hour and 50 minutes. So the answer is 7:50. Let's move to the second question. 1 hour before 8. What is your answer? The answer is 7. Because the word here is before. It means you're going to count back or you're going to minus. Since 8 is here, you are going to minus 8 minus 1. So the answer is 11. Now let's move to the next one. 45 minutes after 8. What is your answer? The answer is 8:45 because the word here is after. So it means you're going to count forward or you're going to add the number. So 8 plus 45 minutes, the answer is 8:45. That ends our lesson for today. So you can answer now the online quiz posted by your teacher on the Google Classroom. Thank you and have a good day.